Hey everybody! What day is it? I think it's Thursday. Listen, I'm going to continue to be excited every time I come to you, whether it's on a Thursday or it's on a Friday. For those of you who don't know, I'm Sadia Davis, making the best of this pandemic situation, and I am the director of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. So before we bring on our really esteemed guest, I want to go over a couple of things with you. A lot of people right now are figuring things out. How do we as artists continue to create? How do we continue to bring things to the market? And one of the things that I want you as our viewers and as our community of creatives is to share with me what it is that you want to see. Because this is a reciprocal relationship. If the CCE is providing resources to you for your development, for your business enhancement, I want to hear from you. So by all means today, feel free to type in the comment section questions, suggestions on what topics would be of interest to you, and I'll do my best to fulfill that. Now, we've got a whole team, my 2112 team, Scott Fetters, and Amor and Rob, who are also working to make sure that our 2112 members are represented. So stay tuned. Definitely, like I said, send us some requests so that we can hopefully be providing resources and great content that you want to see. So on that note, I'm going to make a couple of announcements for next week. And I'm going to use a little tech example. Let me turn my light off. So as you can see, I have created the space to come to you in the right way. And next Thursday, we have Colin Egglesfield, a dynamic actor and a personal coach who we're calling all the scary cats. This is a great picture of Colin Egglesfield. You may have seen him on shows. He's fantastic. He's written a book called Camera Ready. Oh, and also he's written a book called The Agile Artist. And so many of us have had to become agile in this time, right? Like we had to pivot right away. So I'm going to give you an example of some of the things we'll be talking about. How to show up on camera. This is a whiteboard. It gives me a little bounce. I'm going to turn my light on. So he's going to give some real great tips, answer some of your questions, and walk you through how to be camera ready. Followed by him next Friday, we're giving over this entire platform to our CCE partner, AIBI, the Apparel Industry Board, Inc. Kat Anderson is going to bring together a great group of local designers, including Haj, who tailor makes suits, but he's going to be talking a little bit about how he's giving back during this time of this pandemic. And hopefully we'll have some other incredible designers to join you. This week I was told was Fashion Revolution. So we'll be coming out to you with some skills and some things next week around fashion. And what else do we have? Tonight at 7 p.m., on IG, our other partner, Next Showcase Chicago, will open up their platform on IG to be able to have people come on and sing. I mean, it's amazing the amount of talent that's out of Chicago. In a minute, I think people are going to be logging on to their IG showcase from all over. And then tomorrow, you guys, listen, I advise you to tell everybody you know they don't have to be an artist. Tomorrow, we are joined by Althea Montgomery. And if you're feeling any stress, if you're feeling any anxiety, literally, she is going to help you reduce that on 3 times, because we want you to be able to, 1, check in, see how you feel. 2, we'll follow it up to see if any of the recommendations that she makes made any sense. Did you feel an adjustment? Were you able to reduce your stress and anxiety? And then we'll bring her on for the 3rd time to see how your businesses have flourished. So without further ado, I've done enough talking. Let's bring up Brandon Markell Holmes, our guest for today.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Brandon, what's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here in the virtual world.
Yeah, in this virtual world. I'm curious, what does your hat say?
It says Adidas.
Nice.
It's
Okay.
my favorite brand. I'm not endorsed by them, but I love most everything they make because it's
Nice.
very versatile brand.
Well, as a creative artist, you're not just a singer-songwriter. I know that you happen to be a visual artist as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
So, yeah, I started out when I was younger as a dancer, and then eventually I fell in love with acting, and that's what I got my degree in, BFA in theater and directing. And then somewhere along the line, I decided I wanted to do music around 2014.
Wow.
I really wanted to dive deeply into music, and I think it was just like me being like, man, I have this vehicle of music that I barely use because I'm always doing plays and sometimes musicals, but I would always write songs and I was
Okay,
always writing.
hold on a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Only 2014 since you delved into music?
That's when I was like, I want to switch. I wanted to switch from doing theater to music. I switched in 2014. Yeah.
Wow.
After being in theater for 4 years, like working with some pretty great directors and like, I was just like, I want to pivot and like, I wanted to just have a more individual focus.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's been a blessing, but it also has been a crazy whirlwind because it's the deepest part of entrepreneurship that you didn't know existed. So it's like, you go from like being like, okay, I can be a part of a company or I can be a part of this thing, this entity that provides these resources. But sometimes when you make the decision as the artist, like I did without an agent or anything, like I was just like, I'm going to switch and I'm going to just play this all by ear.
Yeah.
And some stuff just, I don't know, miraculously and divinely, things just like fell into place and things are still falling into place. And every day I'm unraveling more and more about my career and my place in the industry and the world. And there's a lot of really cool things I'm finding out. And it's just like really refreshing. Definitely there are some dark moments, but there has been more highs than lows. So
yeah. Well, I got to say, I mean, if anything, you represent an agile artist and that you were able to switch on a dime. In fact, let's go ahead and bring up our other guest today, Robert Perlick Molinari. Did I say it right?
That's it. How you doing?
It's good to see you, man. I will make the connection to who you guys are in a minute, but tell us a little bit about yourself so that our audience can sort of understand who you are, and we'll get back to Brandon in a bit.
Sure. So right now I'm the head of a label and A&R at a music studio in Brooklyn called You Two Can Woo, and I'm in charge of our different labels that we have. The one that I'm most focused on is the Toucan Sounds, and it's indie disco and house music out of Brooklyn, New York. A lot of fun. We're releasing music from people all around the world, though, but folks that you might know would be like Yuxek, Jean Tonique, Louis LaRoche, Eli Escobar, all that kind of stuff. So, but I got into this whole thing. I've been in the industry for about 10 years.
Okay.
I started as an artist in the band French Horn Rebellion, and we were really lucky and fortunate that we had some songs that had some not huge success, but moderate enough that we were able to travel the world. We played on all continents except for Africa and Antarctica. I mean, we were in South Korea, Australia, a lot of European tours. We were music released on Kitsune, and so that's kind of where I'm coming from. And we started. The band had been going for a number of years, and we wanted to focus on our studio in Brooklyn with my brother. So my brother is the founder of the studio, and he's like kind of the head guy, and then I'm in charge of all the label stuff at the studio. But the studio is called You Two Can Woo. You two can be amazing. It's kind of like, what's the woo? I don't know what the woo is. I think that's like our company mission is to find the woo and figure out what that is and who's people's individual woo.
Yeah.
So I think the woo extends beyond as far as how the studio operates and kind of what we're doing. It's me and my brother. that were in the band French Horn Rebellion. David focused on the studio, and then I focused on music industry stuff. And so we finally joined forces a few years ago. And since then, the studio has been growing like crazy, and the label has been growing like crazy. So we've been really unbelievably fortunate. And so finding the woo, that's the whole thing.
Can you woo, woo, woo? Do you remember?
Well, we're trying to find the woo for, like, it's kind of, we talk about like creative entrepreneurship and what's the special sauce and like how do you provide value and like how do you stand out or what do you do? All these things that people ask, and I think like for the studio, that has been something that we've talked about a lot. Is it doesn't matter if you're an artist, it doesn't matter if you're a brand, it doesn't matter if you're a film or a video game. There is like an essence that needs to be discovered that is unique to whoever we're working with, and we need to create a sound that's going to be able to uplift whatever it is that's inside them that they don't necessarily know that they have. So
Yeah,
that's kind of what we try to do at the studio.
Well, Brandon didn't know. Did you know that you had that voice in there? Because I mean, look, I say, and I get so excited about Brandon's high falsetto.
So good.
We're gonna play a clip in a minute, but I just want to talk a little bit more. Brandon, talk to it. How did you find that voice? I mean, did you know you always had it?
Yeah, I was singing since I was 4 years old. And I wrote my first song at like 5. And so it was something that was always a part of me. Music was a part of my life, but like I think it was something that I took for granted because it was so much a part of my life growing up. Until like when I got older, I was like, well, I want to do this. I wanted to do something else because music was such a regular part of me. But then after a while, I realized I was like, no, music is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who I am. And like, this is what I should be doing. And like, and sometimes somebody says like, find your bliss and like follow it. And I remember specifically Whoopi Goldberg talking about in Sister Act, or it was a line in the movie Sister Act. She was like, if you wake up every day and you want to sing, sing, you're a singer. If you wake up every day and you want to do this, like this is what you do. And I thought about that. I was like, what do I want to do every day when I wake up? I want to sing, and
yeah.
I think sometimes we feel like we need to reach because like ourselves aren't enough, and then we like sometimes we do other things, which is cool, and we develop amazing skills from them. But I think there's a lot of like freedom in finding your bliss and finding that thing that makes you come alive. Like, and some people it's natural. Some people, they have to search to find it. So the voice has always been there, but the definition hasn't always been there. And that's what I found along the way was the meaning.
Okay, well, on that note, I want to hear this music because you are releasing, the two of you together, working and releasing this track on all platforms on April 28th. I'm caught up. I mean, my shoulders are shaking every time I hear it. So let's take a look.
Time you want to, chasing the dreams, the shadows I walk through, caught up in my ways, caught up in these days, wasting all my time, losing all my mind, caught up on this.
All right, you got to talk to us. First of all, Robert, where are you?
Oh yeah, so I met a wonderful woman in New York City. We were dating, and it turns out she's Colombian, and so fast forward a few years, we get married. Yeah. And so now I'm married, and we were coming down to visit her family down in Colombia, and we were here for about a week, and then the whole world exploded. So I've been here in Bogota for over a month.
Yeah.
In cuarentena, that's what they call it.
See?
Soy la caballero de la cuarentena. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you literally are fulfilling our global mission in that this conversation is being had not just in Colombia, but the fact that you guys are doing music internationally. So let's talk a little bit about that. And then we've got some special guests who are going to join us. Hang tight. But yeah, talk to us about that.
Well, this project is just to piggyback off what you just said about the international nature of it. So it's the Sweatnik is the artist, and he is a character that was created by this guy Jonathan Marks and Kevin Ford, who are like legendary Chicago house producers. As far as if you heard of Rogue Vogue, if you heard of Hey Champ's not house music, but if you heard of Moon Boots, if you heard of a Chicago Afrobeat project, if you heard of any of these things, they're kind of been in that world related. The Lake Street Project, and so they brought Brandon in to work on this track and to sing. And then Brandon lent his voice, and whenever Brandon brings his energy to anything, it gets elevated to a level that is indescribable. I mean, seriously. So now Brandon, this is actually how we met, and so as the label person, I didn't actually make any of this music. I worked with Jonathan, who's on Sweatnik with the edit and different versions and giving feedback and what you would call like A&R work, saying like, oh, I like this version or maybe this mix or this edit. I did kind of like that type of help. But in this case, my contribution while in Colombia, by the way, so I'm talking for a label in Brooklyn, I'm in Colombia talking with you guys in Chicago and with Jonathan and Brandon is the visual elements. This is like, talk about being like diverse and being able to like move on your feet. So when we were creating the label, it's very important because labels, as we know, are some of the best brands in the world, independent record labels.
Yeah.
Because like you think about like Sub Pop, or you think about like Mad Decent, or you think about Kitsune, you think about these brands and how cool they are and how fun they are. And so every label's got to have a great, like, it's got to be fun. It's got to be awesome. It's got to make you want to go party and like drink 6 tequila shots. I don't know. You know what I mean? So like this was very important, and I knew this was important, and I was like, well, who's going to make all the videos? Like who's going to do the visual branding? So I took my hat off of like music producer, artist, and I've been doing music for years and mixing and producing, and so I taught myself how to do After Effects, Premiere Pro. So what you saw was a guy in Colombia that just learned this year how to make After Effects, trying to recreate the Kings of Chicago.
Nice.
Which is Brandon.
Maybe
he's over here. I don't know which direction he is, but
yeah, Brandon, talk a little bit about that before we bring on our other guests. I want to hear like.
I was blown away when I saw the illustration. Robert, you like Googled a picture. It's like that's the exact picture from the Chicago Tribune interview that I did a few years ago, and I was like, whoa, he picked this picture. And then it was like illustrated and drawn out with animation, and you drew those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he
I drew myself.
And animated it. Like you downplayed that whole situation, but he animated and drew. He draws every single artist who's a part of the label. Like you hand sketch, right? I mean, he did the animation, everything. Like,
can we bring it up just for a quick second? Just for a quick second. Wait.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think like we're talking about creative entrepreneurship, and I think like figuring out like what the true value is always the struggle. Like, where is the value? Because I'm one of those people that thinks that you can learn to do anything,
Yeah.
It's like if you need to make a visual, if you need to make a website, if you need to make like music or a remix or whatever it is, those are, if you have a core fundamental reason why you have to make it or why you're making it, then it gives you direction and why and how it can come together. So, it's like, I just learned how to do After Effects and Premiere Pro, and what you saw was the result of, I don't know, a few months of doing promo videos.
That's amazing. I mean, I had to figure this out. It's just like, how do we bring a standard of delivery to our members, to our community, when we can't go to the physical stage. Because see, normally we would have you guys on a panel, but again, in this case, Robert, we wouldn't have been able to have you because you're in Colombia, but we can have you now on this platform. So everybody has been figuring out, you know, how to make this thing work. Instead of bringing it up, we're going to bring it up at the end because we have some special guests waiting in the wings. So here's what I'd like to do. Robert, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I'm really excited that, you know, not only are you guys making really good music, I want to ask you before you go, is there any tip that you can give to any artist that's out there, you know, that's having a rough time during this pandemic and that's really trying to find their way?
Yeah, well, I mean, Brandon knows this as well as anybody because I feel like of all the artists that I've worked with, at least I guess in the last couple of years, Brandon is definitely understands who he is and what his sound is and kind of like what, because everybody can learn to do things. This is just like, I guess I kind of talked about this a bit, but understanding what it is that's fundamentally different about you or fundamentally unique and just being confident in being able to express it. So I think like somebody like Brandon is really amazing at that. I mean, which is why I'm feel really fortunate to be able to work with him on some projects.
Yeah. So you're saying find that unique thing in you and know who you are in order to bring that forth. I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah, and I think this extends beyond art or as an artist, you know, or as a musician or in film, fashion, you know, media, sports, whatever it is. It's like it's like kind of just it's like who are you, and then these things, these different disciplines, they're just kind of an extension of what's deeper, I guess.
Yeah, I know, I hear you. Well, listen, thank you so much for being an agile artist and like switching on a dime and being ready to join us. What time is it there in Bogota?
Oh, I'm the same time as you guys.
What?
Yeah. That's what was so exciting, you know. It was, my family's from Milwaukee, you know.
Yeah.
So I was always like, you guys, you know, Columbia's not that far away. They're like, oh, it's so far away. I'm like, well, what's the same time zone? It's like we're basically, you know, the same place. And then they're like, oh, wow, okay, cool,
Okay.
great.
That's also good to know. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Robert. And, you know, I'll keep in touch with you. And thanks for contributing your voice and your skill and working with someone like Brandon and being able to deliver to the world such a fun beat, such a fun song. And I love the visuals. So we'll be sure to show it at the end of the show. So right now I want to bring on a surprise guest. Brandon, I don't know if you knew who was coming on. Did you know I had a surprise guest for you?
I think I saw it a little bit, but you know, I'll act like I'm surprised.
Way, okay. My producer is giving me a song. Oh. Give me 1 second. Listen, we are going to bring on a celebrated guest in just one moment. So Brandon, tell me a little bit about your, like, what have you been doing to get through this process right now? Just like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I asked Robert, you know, what tips would you give to an artist that isn't working, but maybe feels somewhat stagnant, or talk a little bit about some of the other things as a creative that you're doing to keep yourself going.
Yeah, so I would definitely say this time has caused me to self-reflect a lot. It's caused me to simplify and kind of get to my essence. I think a lot of times we suffer from FOMO, and we always, you know, it's good to go out and network, and it's good to like, you know, be at parties and go to events. But so much of, I feel like, of that time when we all had the like luxury to go out, there's so much we miss when we have the beauty of just like being at home and hearing ourselves think and meditating and like being quiet and like writing and like really just hearing ourselves. It's been really freeing because, you know, I've had this sense of clarity that I felt like I haven't had in a very long time. and I've had this energy to get things done and to create at a higher level and at a higher frequency. And
Yeah.
so I'm like currently working on another project. I'm working on I just recorded 3 songs this week.
Wow.
I'm going to record a 4th song tonight. And there are small little things I want to do, just like on social media, like maybe like 1-minute videos of maybe something bigger that will be in the future, but just like continuously working on content, continuously writing, and continuously just like being in the studio. And fortunately, like I have access to a studio where I live. Oh, it's man. Fortunately, I have enough.
You were on like a stream of consciousness. So I was like, I don't want to interrupt your flow, but we have a surprise guest for you, Brandon. I wanted to bring up Matt Jones because, I'm going to figure out how to take me down. But the bottom line is you guys are both remarkably talented. And Brandon, we'll let you finish your flow in a bit. But how about you introduce Matt for us?
How do I introduce Matt? Man, he is a virtuoso. He is an amazing.
All right, we're not gonna do that, man.
No, let's not do it. He's a composer.
Matt, let the man speak.
No, I don't like this, man. No, let's just say I'm a friend of Brandon's. That's it.
He's okay. Let's start it like that. First and foremost, he's a great friend. The biggest thing I like about Matt is that he is very modest, and I'm learning things about modesty from him. And because he doesn't really allow the things and the experiences he has had to go to his head, and he always keeps a very level head about it all, which is very sobering in an industry where egos are essentially like, your ego is in a lot of ways your prowess, and it's just very refreshing to see someone who is as talented and as remarkable and skilled at their craft be so humble.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Thank you, man.
He even was like, don't even say I'm that cool. And I was like, I was trying to say, but
look, it's okay. I got it before we bring you, Matt. We know this. Look, some artists are just genius. That's what we're talking about. Musicians are still making music, and I'm calling it magic happen during a pandemic. And the whole topic of today was nothing can stop creative genius. And I could not have this conversation without you, Brandon, and without Matt Jones, who's in LA. So again, this platform allows us to bring folks in from wherever they are in the world to have a conversation. And what's funny is that Brandon introduced me to Matt Jones by phone. Never saw Matt before. I'm going there. And over, what was it? It was New Year's Eve. I invited Jeremiah, our friend Jeremiah Hunt, bass player. Woo woo. That's my instrument. Over, and I was like, yeah, just bring some friends over, whatever. Yeah, I'm opening up my house. We can watch the fireworks. And I didn't know what Matt Jones looked like. So, but needless to say, he was in my house. And it wasn't until the next day I was like, this dude played the bass. He played the guitar. I wasn't checking.
I didn't play those instruments. I messed around on them.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, whatever. I have video, Matt, of you like. I mean,
it didn't sound too good though.
So, anyways, make a long story short, I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh my God, was that Matt Jones in my house? Wait, I went through my text and I was like, were you in my house last night? And he was like, well, maybe, I don't know. Who is this? And I said it and he was like, yeah, I was. So you just never know. In the industry of the creatives, we intersect with each other. And we don't always know how. And this is not just in the creative arts, it's in business total. It's in relationship building. You never know. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of that connection to the fact that you guys are not only friends, you've worked together, but really, giving an entree unto you, Mr. Jones. Talk to us just a little bit about who you are. We don't need to go. I'm being sensitive. So we can talk about maybe the projects, not by name that you're working on, but during this pandemic and being isolated in the house, you know, what ways have you found to be able to continue your art as a musician, as a composer, as a songwriter, piano player?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new for me because I'm always composing from the house anyway. So the only thing that's changed for me is my ability to be able to go into the studio with a live orchestra and record. But other than that, I'm still writing at home. So not much has changed for me. But I have been getting into some like virtual orchestral plugins, VSTs that have been really interesting, and so I'm able to kind of create the sound of an orchestra from being at home.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that seems to be something that people are trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, well, it's getting pretty scary because there are a lot of like new plugins and orchestral libraries that kind of sound pretty close to a real orchestra. So I'm just doing like a lot of research on different, sound libraries to, keep me active and to keep me inspired. So yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, we want to keep you inspired for sure. Listen, you guys talk to each other.
Hey, Brandon.
What's up, Matt? How you doing, man?
I meant to hit you back the other day.
Oh, it's all good. I was like.
Oh yeah, we had an earthquake. We had an earthquake the other day.
So I was, but I texted someone else and they was like, it was a baby earthquake. I was like, oh, so I guess Matt's fine. But yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm happy you're safe. I'm happy you're okay.
Thanks, man.
I'm just here in my apartment, like writing a million songs.
Are you recording from home?
Studio in my building, so we're quarantined. But my neighbor is a sound engineer, so
oh wow,
we just walk upstairs and then record and like
for free.
I mean, I pay him because I think that's the right thing to do, but there's some generosity.
Yeah, for sure.
Better word. Yeah. It's my friend and my neighbor. But yeah, it's just been like I've just been able to, I guess, unravel a lot of stuff. As you know, I was already working on the album, and so I'm pretty much done with that. I'm down to like one more track. And
wow.
I'll be finished with my second album, and I've already
stop,
Huh?
So you don't stop.
No, man, dude, you're so funny. I was looking at my songs, and I was like, wait, I think I have another album already written, and I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
Because I've just been like writing, I just keep writing, and kind of like you, man. It's like it's just nonstop.
I never said it was nonstop for me.
I feel like
I've been watching so much TV, bro.
Really?
I've never watched this much TV in my life. I don't even watch TV. I just started watching TV.
Did you check out BET last night when I sent you the text?
No, I think I might have been asleep when you sent me that.
Okay. I know you tend to go to bed early, but hey, listen. So that's awesome. I mean, Brandon, you're just going. That's fantastic. So Matt, talk a little bit about, how this time is. I think, you mentioned that there's a producer that you work with, or she a violinist. You're welcome to bring her into the mix if you'd like. But talk a little bit about some of the, things that you're going through. And then we have some notes from a couple of people that I want to definitely make sure we get out there.
Okay. So what's the question?
Just, your process. I mean, look, you get to be in sunny California. I mean, California is doing, some remarkable.
Yeah, but we all the same right now, so we all in the house. So
exactly, we're all in the house. How are you able to? You were talking a little bit about putting the orchestral music together. I'm really curious about that for our viewers who are watching. I mean, at the end of the day, there may be some artists, musicians who are stuck. And I think that you guys add a value and bring a voice to how do you get inspired? How do you get motivated? You know, is it that you're working out? Do you have a certain sleep pattern? How has this shift motivated you to do things differently?
Yeah. I haven't been that motivated, to be honest with you. Like the first couple weeks,
Yeah.
I was just not doing much. Actually, I think I caught the virus, and I was down for like a week, so I wasn't doing too much. But then after that, after I got better, kind of start working again. The virtual thing you were talking about, I think a lot of musicians are starting to get like home setups, so they could record at home. Um, so I mean, that's a new thing to a lot of. I think a lot of orchestral musicians, they're used to just going to the studio to record. So I think this whole thing has forced a lot of people to be creative in different ways and find ways to do virtual recordings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning about the virtual world as well, because I'm used to being in a studio with the orchestra. So
Yeah. So, I mean, to have an orchestra and so many different moving parts, I think it might be a little different with regards to how Brandon was able to set up his track. Brandon, you want to talk a little bit about some of the details of how you were able to get this work produced? Like you said, you've got a neighbor. It just so happens you have a neighbor. Not everybody, has.
Yes. So my regular studio is in quarantine as well, so I can't go to the studio that I usually go to and work with my people, my engineer, and so my neighbor, and and it's so funny because my neighbor, he is an agile artist. I feel like he's like the absolute definition of an agile artist. He's a photographer. He makes videos, and he is also a sound engineer, and he's like a painter, but like he's like really good at like most of them, like above like excellent, and I don't know how we got on the topic of like sound engineering. He was like, yeah, I have my degree in sound engineering, and I was like, what? I was like, but you've been like you've been my photographer for the past 2 years, like past 3 years. I'm like, what do you mean you're a sound engineer? He's like, yeah, dude, like, he's like, what do you think I have this mic and all this stuff for? I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, I have it. This is like what I do. And then I was like, yo, like, let's like, we did like a sample run, and it was like excellent. And then I sent it to my producer. He's like, man, like, he's like, I know this was supposed to be a demo, but this might get passed to the final because it's that good.
What?
And he was like, he did a really good job of recording you. And I was like, wow. And so it was just kind of like a blessing that I didn't even know was there. And it's just like it's like right there.
Literally next door.
Yeah. And so, and he was excited. And after we recorded we did 3 songs in one night, actually. And we sent one to this producer in New York, and then the other 2 was for my record. And, I got really great feedback from the guys in New York too, and I was just like, man, this is like super crazy. Like at this time where I was like stressing out because I was like smack dead in the middle of finishing my record, that like I wasn't gonna be able to get into the studio, and like I don't really record myself because.
Why not? Hey Brandon, why don't you get a microphone and an interface?
No, I used to have one of those things.
One of those things.
No, I used to have a microphone interface actually, and I did a few projects on my own, and then afterwards I was just like, it just feels so much better when there's like somebody who like is really good at this, like tracking my voice and like doing the edits, and like maybe I'm lazy. I don't know. Maybe I just.
You're not lazy, okay? I'm not gonna allow that to happen.
Yeah,
I am.
For
it's
me,
lazy.
I just feel more comfortable with somebody who's a professional. Like,
yeah, but all you doing? You just press record, man.
No, dude, that's the whole like cutting and then mixing it, and like there's a lot of parts.
I call BS. I mean, look, Matt, haven't you seen Brandon's post where he's like, there's a piano and some music's happening? It sounds good to me. I'm telling you, that high falsetto, I look for it. I wait for it. It's not on this track that we played today, I don't think, but it's
No,
there.
it's not.
It's there. So let me ask you, one, I want to just kind of take note of some of our listeners or watchers or people who are engaged.
Are there people watching?
Yeah, there are.
Man, I'm on TV. Am I famous now?
Lord have mercy. We know how you roll. Quietly.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the fun things about this is we're actually streaming both live on Facebook and on YouTube. And so this broadcast will live in our YouTube channel. So for people who haven't logged on today, they will be able to go back and watch it. One of the things that I really admire about you both is how accessible and wonderful you are. And I say that because, you know, I think Brandon brought this up earlier in terms of like having worked with someone, and I think you were referring to Matt, that, you know, in an industry, whether it's film, whether it's music, whether it's visual arts, right? Theater, dance, individuals can get this thing, right? And yet the talent truly, authentically comes through when you're just being yourself. And that's one thing that I've experienced with both of you is your ability to just be authentic and real. Great. I'm so happy to see you, Tari Teray. She's here. Anyways, listen, Gussie Miller is excited about what you guys are saying. Sean Ruggles says the agility found in creatives is astounding. We just have to figure things out and keep things moving, right? Like this is a testament of not only are you guys keeping things moving, this individual who's making this comment literally writes commercials and needs music, right? Or has clients who need artists like you guys. And one of the reasons why it was so important to bring you together is to share that conversation about how you're being you are continuing to make magic happen during this really difficult time. So I'm just really, really excited that, you know, the works that you have created. I mean, let me just speak to Matt real quick. You know, Matt, I don't know if I'm telling the story right, but you posted a video, and I can't lift the link. It has to be a video of your orchestra, the Matt Jones Orchestra, performing. What's the name of the song? It was the Black Panther.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that was a different orchestra.
Oh, can you talk a little bit about it though? Because people really love that.
The whole story. I'll try to make it short as possible.
Thank you.
Me and my friend Stephanie, we had a phone call one night. It was like, yo, let's do something cool. That was right around the time Black Panther came out. So I'll make this as short as I can.
It's worth it. You've got some time. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, me and her was like, why don't we do something cool? And then we finally came up with the idea of putting together an all-black orchestra to record one of the songs off the Black Panther soundtrack, which was All the Stars, Kendrick Lamar and SZA. So we put together all-black orchestra, recorded a video, which is, I think it's on Vimeo right now.
Yeah. You guys can YouTube it.
Yeah, so we did that just for fun, you know, black people, you know, having fun.
Okay, hold on. You can Google it. I Googled it. But talk to me a little bit about, so you put the video out there, and then what happened because of it? And the reason why this is important is because we're talking about how to inspire other creatives right now. In this medium, you figured it out a while ago. So you recorded this really great video. You put an all-black orchestral group together.
Mm-hmm.
I advise everybody to Google it. You can Google Matt Jones Orchestra. That's how I found it. But tell us what came about, Matt.
We actually named that orchestra the Recollective Orchestra. So after we posted it, film composer Hans Zimmer, he reposted it on Facebook, and I didn't think anything of it because I didn't really think that was him on Facebook until someone from his camp reached out to us and told us that he was interested in meeting us. So long story short, we had the opportunity to play on the Hans Zimmer invited us to play on the Lion King soundtrack along with the LA musicians. So that's what came out of that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, hello. Let me just track back real quick. So basically, as an artist, you and a friend came up with a great idea. You videoed that idea and you uploaded it to the internet. Mm-hmm. Let's just start with that. That right there is an inspiring way for artists to, especially now, because
that's all right.
Captive audiences. What's up?
I don't know if I mentioned her name. Her name is Stephanie Matthews. I want to do that because I would be wrong if I didn't mention her name. We did it together.
Oh, I wish I could see Stephanie. I know that we invited her on, but it's always good to see the women that are involved in these mixes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, my point is that what you did is accessible to anybody to do at this point. And right now, everybody is seated across the world globally. And you have almost captive audiences. So I wanted you to share that story. Thank you, Matt, for sharing it instead of me telling it, because the work that you created is powerful. I won't say who, but someone in the city of Chicago in the mayor's office say, what? This person is from Chicago? Can how can we get him engaged, right? That piece I've seen grown men and women come to tears because it's so powerful and it's something that we don't normally see, right? I mean, Brandon, you're shaking your head. Your words on it?
Man, it was just that. As soon as I saw it, I shared it. I texted probably 20 people the link and was like, y'all need to see this. Like, this is amazing. And yeah, it was definitely a defining moment of like, wow, like we can do anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, I wish there was a way to post it, but I would just say to everybody.
I want to add to this.
Go ahead.
I think what makes it so special is that when you think of composers, you usually think of like someone who's like way older or who's way more like been in the industry for like decades. Like you got Matt's like barely 30, you know, he's still very young, and so seeing that, and we were like around the same age, like that was motivation for me as a young man, you know, and understanding that like there is no age limit for your greatness. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some people, the industry might say like, well, you haven't done this or you haven't done that, but like this is a clear scenario, just like, you know, working on your craft and like being good at what you do and, you know, believing in yourself and uploading what you've done, like can really change your trajectory and change your life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, not just change your life, Matt, like it literally has changed the perception of other people, right? Like Hans Zimmer going, wow, we got to get these individuals involved. Or industry professionals who create visual images and are trying to shift a negative image or negative narrative around brown and black to seeing something so powerful. So, you know, we want to celebrate that. In order to just kind of give some context to today's talk, I want to bring up, if we can, the video that we shared earlier, Brandon's work. And we can, if anybody has any questions, by all means, put them in the comments. Your comments are being shared live on Facebook, so they can be seen. But if you have any questions, I recommend you send them over so we can answer some of them for you.
Wow. Oh man,
Thank
is
you.
this out?
Yeah, it comes out officially on the 28th, but it's right now it's out on TrackSource, which is primarily a platform that like international DJs use to get music first. So anything that's like house or like
Yeah.
underground EDM, like the the like the biggest DJs, they go there first before it hits like the masses. So
That's dope.
that's who's like
Yo, I gotta
the
ask you.
exclusive.
I gotta ask you. Why are you upside down?
Oh,
It's
he.
been bugging me the whole time.
we don't know, but Matt, he's not upside down for everybody else, but he was upside down for Robert too. But he's right side up for me. Yes, I'm caught up.
So maybe I should do this. Then.
I'll
Now I can see him clearly.
Now you're upside down.
Now you're right side up. So listen, you guys, it's pretty fun, and you know we've got like I said earlier, you guys really are providing a light, you know, and providing some guidance. Actually, Brandon, you showing how you're able to continue to produce right now. You know, Danita Patterson is like, look, there's no age limit on greatness, right? Thank you for saying that. But you guys have really demonstrated today and how you've shared your stories about how to be motivated or stay motivated, right? How to continue shifting and making pivots during this difficult time. And, you know, every time I do one of these live talks, my heart really is full with a lot of people who are suffering. And with the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, our goal is to continue during this time to inspire whether it's our 2112 members or creative entrepreneurs globally on how to continue to figure things out. I mean, in some of the darkest times come the best forms of art, you know, and whether that's in music, it could be in somebody conceiving a really great film idea, or a new dance, or a form of expression in whatever way in the creative sector. So your voices are powerful. Your content is amazing. Brandon, I can't get the track out of my mind. Like my shoulders start shaking. I tried, you know, I reached out to Vocalo Radio because I know that they typically, you know, play your work. And, you know, again, you'll have to keep us abreast of the tracks that you said. You said you were releasing some other work.
So and particularly with Toucan Records in Brooklyn, I have like maybe 3 more tracks that are going to be released with them.
Nice.
But they're primarily house and disco.
Okay.
But I have some other I guess platforms who are interested in like distributing my other works. So I'm gonna, you know, see what those are about as well. And because the thing about me, speaking of agility, I make all genres of music, you know, like
Yes, you do.
I make everything, you know. I don't really limit myself to like one sound, and I think that's something that I'm very grateful for that versatility to be able to make a lot of different things. So there are, which is very fortunate. So I can put out music with multiple platforms. You know, I can put out music with, you know, R&B label or whatever, or EDM label or jazz, whatever is appropriate. And I think that's a big thing that I would like to give as a gem and as a gift to creators. Be as versatile as possible. Like, be as versatile as you possibly can be. Do not box yourself in. You know, always be searching for something else, because sometimes that one gift might lend hand to another gift. And all things work together, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, speaking about that, so if you are showing up in different genres, how do we kind of find your music? Like, and I'm going to ask this to Brandon, but I want to ask this to Matt as well, because I know Matt works with, as a composer, works with other people's music, but how can our viewers find or listen to your works?
Brandon, sorry.
You first.
Well, I don't really have much of my own stuff. I'm normally working for different artists, so yeah, I don't really have. I haven't put any original stuff out of my own.
So,
So
so how does that work? Just so we're clear, so people contract you to create a
to write
song.
yeah. So basically, artists uh, hire me to write orchestrations over their songs.
Got it. So we hear what we hear in the background in the orchestral music is something that you've created or you've worked with other people to produce for that artist.
So basically, if the like if Brandon has a song and he wants an orchestra over top of it, I would then write the orchestral arrangement, go in the studio and record it, and then that's it.
Yeah. Well, I can think of several artists, some of which are viewing us, that I've said that I could just imagine your orchestral genius in the background of their voice. So, Brandon, I pose the same question to you. How do our viewers listen to your music if you're spread across various genres? Does it show up in one compilation or?
Yeah, it's so my first album, The Museum of R&B, is kind of like a
Brandon's about to go through the whole
multi-genre.
catalog.
Don't hate. Okay, he has a whole catalog. Sure. Hold on, Brandon. We're bringing you back.
The Museum of R&B
What
is
happened?
essentially the catalog. It's
Okay.
it's it's more so like a sound bite of many different sounds, and my whole thing of creating that album was like to demystify this idea of genre altogether. But it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere. I mean, Tidal, Amazon, Google, like
We can find you
it's
basically.
everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere.
So what do we do? Do we Google you by name and then we're able to find it?
Yes, you can Google me. So when you Google me, you will see the first thing that comes up is like my website.
Yeah.
And then it's like Spotify. And so feel free to connect with any of those. Or if you go to brandonmarkell.com, I have every single platform that you can reach me on, including my email.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we are excited. I know that we can probably put your email address along the bottom, and then people can reach out and check out your music that way. And Matt, I know that you have different clients, if you will, that you work with. I mean, I've seen them on IG. Can I mention some of them? Can I mention them if you can't?
I don't want to do that. No.
Okay, cool. So anyways, go to Matt Jones' Instagram and I'm not saying anything because
I'm not doing that.
no, that's real. And here's what
In LA, people do that all day. I don't you know what I mean?
I know. So here's the thing. We spoke about the reality of the business. Some people are humble and some people are, they brag a lot, and we respect your piece and your space with that. I only share that information for other artists to be inspired by and know who you are. And so at the very least, again, I am really thankful that I have this opportunity to bring individual artists like you guys to a platform for others to grow, to be inspired, to be motivated, and to hopefully create some really heartfelt, connected, authentic art. And however the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship can help foster and amplify that work, that's what we're here to do. So again, tomorrow I'm going to lead us out in talking a little bit about tomorrow. And this is for you guys also. So tomorrow we're bringing up Althea Montgomery of Creative Clearings. And this is an individual who is giving us a gift, is giving all artists the gift to be able to release some of your stress, release some of your anxiety. And the talk tomorrow is growth in the midst of chaos, right? And I personally have worked with Althea. She's amazing. I met her at the Soho House in Los Angeles. several years ago, and I've just been fascinated with the way that she's able to work and unblock artists so that they literally can create. And that crosses against all industries of entertainment and business. So we look forward to you joining us tomorrow. Tell your friends about it. Again, anybody can benefit from such talk. And I will remind everybody, if there's any subject matter that you want to see us cover, by all means, send us a note, drop us a comment on our Facebook page. You can also keep up to date with Artist Relief on our CCE Global webpage, as well as our Center for Creative Entrepreneurship Facebook page. So however we can bring great resources and content to you, that's our mission to do. And in the meantime, check out these artists. Thank you so much, Brandon Markell Holmes and Matt Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Good
that
to see you,
run,
Matt.
was it a good surprise?
It was a great surprise. I was very happy. I've been trying to reach this man. And
Bro, don't do that. Come on.
I'm joking.
Oh,
Come
okay.
on.
Don't do that, man. Not on.
No, I'm kidding.
Lots of jokes and love.
No, it's all good.
Hello, everybody. That's
Hey, guys,
Angela
this is
Prado.
great.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of the day. Stay motivated. Keep creating.
All right.
We depend on you for all the greatness that you put in the world. From my heart to yours, thank you for shining your light.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Same time tomorrow.
2 p.m.